Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevayam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevayam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevayam. Om Aganda Timarandasya Ganajana Shivakaya Chakshur Umulitam Yena Tajma Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Hare Krishna. The following video series is a summary of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam was translated into English by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Also included are His in-depth commentaries known as purports. These purports unpack the often complex and symbolic language of the text, making it understandable to a wider audience. The Srimad Bhagavatam, also known as the Bhagavata Purana, is considered the most important of sacred scriptures. Composed around 5,000 years ago, it is considered the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic literature and the original commentary on the Vedanta-sutra. The author of Srimad Bhagavatam is Srila Vyasadeva. He is also the compiler of the Vedas, classified as a Purana, a vast genre of ancient stories and knowledge encompassing history, philosophy, and spiritual teachings. Srimad Bhagavatam includes stories of avatars, creation narratives, lives of saints and sages, philosophy discourses, and practical guidance for spiritual life. Divided into 12 cantos with over 18,000 verses covering 10 subject matters. 1. The elemental creation. 2. The secondary creation. 3. The planetary systems. 4. Protection by the Lord. 5. The creative impetus. 6. Manvatars. 7. The science of God. 8. The dissolution. 9. Liberation. And 10. The supreme shelter. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila, chapter 25, text 143 and 144, Lord Chaitanya, speaking to Prakrisananda Saraswati, tells him, translation, the meaning of the Vedanta-sutra is present in Srimad Bhagavatam. The full purport of the Mahabharata is also there. The commentary of the Brahma Gayatri is also there and fully expanded with all Vedic knowledge. Srimad Bhagavatam is the Supreme Purana. It was compiled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His incarnation as Vyasadeva. There are 12 cantos, 335 chapters, and 18,000 verses. Canto 9, chapters 9 through 16. Chapter 9. The Dynasty of Amsuman. Dilipa, son of Amsuma, tried to bring the Ganges to earth but failed. His determined son, Bhagirath, performed severe austerities to convince Mother Ganges to descend and liberate her ancestors. Ganges agreed, but only if Lord Shiva could control her mighty waters and the sinful reactions of men could be neutralized. Bhagirath appeased Shiva, and the river descended, purifying all and delivering his forefathers to the heavenly planets. Bhagirath's descendants included Sutra, Nava, Sindhudvipa, Ayutayu, and Ruparna. Ruparna's line continued to Sarvakarma, Sudasa, and Sudasa, whose son was Asmaka, was born by Vasita's intervention. Asmaka's son, Valika, also called Narikavacha or Mulaka, repopulated the Kshatriyas when they were banished from the world. From Valika descended Dasarath, Idavidi, Vishvasaha, and Maharaja Katvanga, who fought alongside the demigods against the demons. When he learned that his life on the heavenly planets was fleeting, Katvanga returned to earth, renounced worldly pursuits, and devoted himself entirely to worshiping Hari, understanding the true value of spiritual life over material opulence. A verse from chapter 9 is text 7. Darashyati te vegam rudastva atma sarinam yasmin otma idam potam vishvam sativa tantusu. Translation. Like a cloth woven of threads extending for its length and breadth, this entire universe, in all its latitude and longitude, is situated under different potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is the incarnation of the Lord, and thus he represents the Supersoul and the embodied soul. He can sustain your forceful waves on his head. Chapter 10. The Pastimes of the Supreme, Lord Ramacandra. The 10th chapter describes how Lord Ramacandra appeared in the dynasty of Maharaja Katvanga. It also describes the Lord's activities, telling how he killed Ravana and returned to Ayodhya, the capital of his kingdom. Maharaj Katvanga's son was Dirghavahu, followed by Raghu, Aja, and Dasarath, whose son was Lord Ramacandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Descending with his brothers Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrugna, Lord Ramachandra's pastimes were described by great sages like Valmiki. Accompanied by Vishwamrita, the Lord killed demons like Marishi, broke the bow Haradandu, and married Sita. Obeying his father, he entered the forest with Lakshman and Sita. He cut off Supernaka's nose, defeating Kara and Dusana. When Ravana kidnapped Sita, the Lord with Lakshman searched the forest, met Jatahu, defeated Gavandha, and allied with Sugriva. With Hanuman's help, the monkey army crossed the ocean, stormed Lanka, and Lord Ramacandra killed Ravana and rescued Sita from the Asok forest. Returning to Ayodhya, he was joyfully received by Bharat and his companions. A verse from chapter 10 is text 30. Tato dadarsa bhagavan adhoksha vani kasare yashman svavariha vaddim simsapa mulam ashritam. Translation. Thereafter, Lord Ramacandra found Sitadev sitting in a small cottage beneath the tree named Simsapa in a forest of ahoksha trees. She was lean and thin, being aggrieved because of separation from him. Chapter 11. Lord Ramacandra rules the world. This chapter describes how Lord Ramacandra resided in Ayodhya with his younger brothers and performed various sacrifices. Lord Ramacandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, performed great sacrifices, distributed lands to the priests, and showing deep respect for the Brahmins, who in return valued his spiritual guidance above all material gifts. Disguising himself as an ordinary man, he wandered the capital to understand how people perceived him and overheard a man speaking ill of Sita Devi. To protect her honor, the Lord reluctantly sent her to the care of the sage Valmiki, where she gave birth to two twin sons, Lava and Kusa. Lord Ramacandra continued to protect his kingdom, with Bharat conquering lands, Shatrugna defeating the demon Ravana, and great wealth being secured. Sita Devi entrusted her sons to Valmiki and returned to the earth. Grieved by her absence, the Lord performed sacrifices for 13,000 years. Sukadeva Goswami emphasizes that through these pastimes, Lord Ramacandra protected his devotees, ensured the welfare of his citizens, and displayed boundless affection for his brothers. A verse from chapter 11 is text 15. Muna nikshikya tanaya sita bhartra vivasita dayayanti ramacharano vivaram pravivesaha. Translation. Being forsaken by her husband, Sita Devi entrusted her two sons to the care of Valmiki Muni. Then, meditating upon the lotus feet of Lord Ramacandra, she entered into the earth. Chapter 12. The Dynasty of Kusa, the son of Lord Ramacandra. This chapter describes the dynasty of Kusa, the son of Lord Ramacandra. The members of this dynasty are descendants of Sasada, the son of Maharaj Ikshvaku. Following Lord Ramacandra, his son Kusa was succeeded by a long line of rulers including Atiti, Nisada, Nava, Pundarika, and others, all of whom maintained the kingdom. The dynasty continued through Pushpa, Dhruva Sandhi, Sundarsana, Agnivara, Singra, and Maru, who attained perfection in yoga and will revive the solar dynasty at the end of Kali Yuga. Sukadeva Goswami lists the future descendants of Brihadbala, Brihadrana, Urukrina, Vatsavidra, and many others, who will rule in succession. Sumitra appeared in this age of Kali and will be the last king of the Ikshvaku dynasty. A verse from chapter 12 is text 9. Ete Ikshvaku bhutpala atita srinvanagatan brihad balasya bhavita putro namna brihad drana. Translation. All these kings in the dynasty of Ikshvaku have passed away. Now please listen as I describe the kings who will be born in the future. From Brihadbala will come Brihadana. Chapter 13. The dynasty of Maharaja Nimi. This chapter describes the dynasty in which the great and learned scholar Janak was born. When Maharaja Nimi began performing great sacrifices, he appointed Vasishtha as chief priest. Vasishtha refused to be engaged in yajna for Lord Indra, but Nimi, impatient, appointed another priest. Angered, Vasishtha cursed Nimi, and Nimi counter-cursed him. As a result, both of them died. Vasishtha was later reborn to Mitra as Varuna. Nimi's body, preserved by priests, refused rebirth, but when churned, Janak emerged. Janak's descendants included Udasvasu, Nandi Vardhana, Suketu, and successive kings down to Sriyavaja, whose daughter was Sitadev. All were renowned for self-control, devotion, and righteousness, forming a long and lustrous dynasty that preserved the principles of Dharma and devotion through generations. A verse from chapter 13 is text 9. Yasha yogam navanchanti viyoga bhaya kartara Bhajanti charanam bodham munanuhari medhasa. Translation. Maharaj Nimi continued, Mayavadis generally want freedom from accepting the material body because they fear having to give it up again. But devotees whose intelligence is always filled with the service of the Lord are unafraid. Indeed, they take advantage of the body to render transcendental loving service. Chapter 14. King Pururava, enchanted by Urvasi. Lord Brahma was born from the lotus emergent from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Brahma's son, Atri, had a son named Soma, the king of all drugs and stars, who in pride kidnapped Tara, wife of Brihaspati. This led to a great battle between demigods and asuras, but Brahma rescued Tara and returned her to her husband. From Tara, Soma begot Buddha, who later, in Ila's womb, fathered Aila, who is known as Pururava. Urvasi was captivated by Pururava's beauty, and therefore she lived with him for some time. But when she left his company, he became almost like a madman. While traveling all over the world, he met Urvasi again at Kurukshetra, where she agreed to join with him for only one night every year. But when he thought of leaving her again, he was overwhelmed by grief. Urvasi then advised Pururava to worship the Gandharvas. Being satisfied with his worship, the Gandharvas gave him a woman named Agnisahi. Recognizing she was not Urvasi, he renounced her. Returning home, he meditated and performed a Vedic ritual to satisfy his desires. A verse from chapter 14 is text 25. Ramanastaya devaya Padma kinijaka gandhaya tamukham muda musito mumude hargunam bahum. Translation. Urvasi's body was as fragrant as the saffron of a lotus. Being enlivened by the fragrance of her face and body, Pururava enjoyed her company for many days with great jubilation. Chapter 15. Parasuräma, the Lord's warrior incarnation. From Urvasi came 6 sons, Ayu, Trutayu, Satyahu, Rai, Jaya, and Vijaya. Their descendants included Vasum, Sutanjaya, Eka, Amita, and Bhima. Bhima's line continued with Kanchana, Hotarka, and Janu. Janu's descendants included Puru, Balaka, Ajaka, Kusa, and his sons Kumsambu, Tanaya, Vasu, and Kusanava. From Kusambu came Gadi, whose daughter Satyavati married Rikamuni, giving birth to Jamanagni. Jamadagni's son was Ram, or Parasurama, an empowered incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When King Karta Virajuna stole Jamadagni's desire cow, Parasurama killed him and, over time, annihilated the Kshatriya dynasty 21 times. Afterwards, Jamadagni instructed Parasurama to atone for his actions by traveling to holy places. A verse from chapter 15 is text 14. Yam asur vasudevasam hayalam kalantakam trisapta kritvo ya iham chakre nishakriyam mahim. Translation. Learned scholars accept this Parasurama as a celebrated incarnation of Vasudeva, who annihilated the dynasties of Dayavira. Parasurama killed all the Kshatriyas on earth 21 times. Chapter 16. Lord Parasurama destroys the world's ruling class. Jamadagni's wife, Renuka, was briefly tempted by a Gandharva king, and Jamadagni punished her. Parasurama killed his mother and brothers, but later they were revived due to his father's austerities. The sons of Kartavirajunas, seeking revenge, killed Jamadagni during his meditation. Upon his return, Parasurama, grief-stricken, took up his axe and annihilated Kartavirajuna's sons, turning their blood into a river. He then performed sacrifices to revive his father. In the Gaudiya dynasty, Vishvamrita, famed for his austerities, was born and became a great Brahmin. He had 101 sons, the Madhuchandas. When Sunasepa, son of Ajigartha, was to be sacrificed by Harishchandra, the Prajapatis intervened and he became Devarata. 50 elder sons of Vishvamrita rejected him, leading their father to curse him as Malechas, while the 51st son and younger siblings accepted him, ensuring Devarata's recognition of the Kausika lineage. A verse from chapter 16 is text 25. Jamagniyopi Bhagavan Rama Kamala Lochana Agaminyatare Rajan Vartayishyati Brihat. Translation. My dear King Pariksit, and the next Manvatara, the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, Lord Parasurama, the son of Jamadagni, will be a great propounder of Vedic knowledge. In other words, he will be one of the 7 sages.